Welcome back. There are very few games in the market achieve great commercial success. Too much emphasis is given to the development and production of games that the other important element of a successful game, marketing, is more often than not given less attention. For Game Design House, they help indie game developers meet the target of game marketing, which is to generate massive number of leads.
The current value is at about $80 billion for toys and games in terms of printed package, not the online. The online is also more or less close to the same figure. So we are looking at overall, in terms of games, it's close to about $100 billion in industry. For board game on printed copies, the market estimate sale value is at about $10 billion worldwide. US, of course, is the biggest market, closing to at about 40%. The next would be UK, that's about 27%. Asia is third at 21%. So if you're looking at regional base, game market is $1 billion industry. And the best thing is that the titles that are up, it's once you get popular, it stays for quite some time. We are looking at about close to $1 million in market sale for one title.
Apart from that, social media forms exposure a great deal in branding loyalty and trust for Game Design House, especially to the youngster.
Online, I think, is one of the best channels. A lot of people actually now buy online. I think close to 62% of people, they shop online. That's going to give us the biggest market would be online sale.
As a startup, obviously we don't have that kind of budget, like a big company would have. What we want to do is grow a community and grow it organically. And obviously digital marketing is going to be very important for us. We have a website. We're actually very active on Facebook and all the other social media channels. It's going to take a little bit of time, but social media obviously is the best way. And again, our target market is relatively young, 18 to 30 years old. So these are the people who are very active in social media. So this is where you're going to reach them.
Both co-founders believe that product development is important in developing the business. Having good products shall drive the market value.
The product, it's the core, it's a very critical point. In games, it's slightly different than making a cushion or making a piece of furniture where it's pleasing to the eye, people like it, it fits in the room, color stands out, and probably someone will buy your furniture. In game, the person must have first start out with a lot of passion to play, meaning that the game itself, it's where a player are actually immersed into the world of the game. So for that to happen, what we call the most critical important element that we would see in the game is to be able to capture the attention of a gamer. So, and then hold it long enough for them to play the whole game and come out and say that, the game is nice and I would recommend it to someone. Where throughout the whole experiencing, it will bring you, different feelings. I think product should be one of the biggest challenge to come up with a good title in game.
Product development, because it's the most challenging part of designing, let's say, a board game like what we're doing. It takes a very long time, especially when we have to validate our product before we even think of finishing it. So there's a lot of changes, throughout the years. Even the title of our board game has actually changed. It used to be called the Airport Race, and then through feedback from our potential customers and all of that, they're saying, oh, it's not exciting enough. So we did a bit of brainstorming session, came up with the final name, which is the Peides Curse. So this is, like I said, product development stage is really important because we started reaching out to our customers, even from the start.
GDH approaches the game business from a different perspective.
It is a very competitive market actually in terms of game development and game design. I would say that the first point of competition actually starts in design. Meaning the day you start picking up a pen or having an idea, that's when the competition actually starts already in game. Because the first thing that when you start to design, first of all you would probably pick the genre. Whether it's going to be a strategy game, family role-playing games, or a hardcore battle. What are your teams going to be? How strategic is your game going to be in the market? So then you've got to first compete in terms of design. You've got to compete into development, meaning that you add in a lot of visuals, a lot of characters, how you're going to build your game into something that's visible and tangible. Then from there, you're going to take on to the next step, where you're going to meet the games actually at the actual market. So it's actually all the way, the whole process is competition all the way. The thing that reduces the stress in terms of competition would actually be the gamers. They are the biggest supporter of a game, and in fact, if for them, they would actually be the best partner for us in terms of game development. First of all, they give you valuable opinion. When you invite them for test play, they run through the game, they know how it feels like. The feedback is actually very valuable for us too when it comes to developing and designing the games.
Numerous on trademark copycats and to be known in the market are the challenges faced by GDH.
At this point of time, I think locally in Malaysia, we have come across people who like to copycats who copy titles. But in terms of very strong, in terms of competition, unfair mainly to be taking people's copyright, that is actually what we are always very aware of. That might happen actually in any market, especially if you're going global. We can't control basically who have access to the information. So what we did was that for the Peides Curse Earth, we have actually done copywriting in a few countries. The first one that we did was in Malaysia. That was way back in 2007 when I first had my idea. So what I did was I copyright the game rulebook, the rules to the game, and also I trademarked a name for it. So previously our first title is actually not called the Peides Curse Earth. It was actually called Airport Race. But due to some feedbacks from market and the thematic appeal, we changed the game to the Peides Curse Earth. So from there, I did my second trademark as to the title, called the Peides Curse. Earth is actually the first team, first world we call it. Mercury will be next, coming up hopefully next year, that we can complete the game design. So the first one for Earth is actually a competitive game, but for Mercury, I changed slightly in terms of gameplay. I make it into a cooperative game. So a cooperative game differs with competition game, mainly because the players need to help each other to win the game. So that's basically the difference in terms of the two titles.
You have to understand the market for board games is actually not here in Asia. If you want to talk about board games like Monopoly, the new ones like the Lord of the Rings and all that, they have their own board game versions. These are mainly for the Americans and Europeans. They are really into board games. If you look at the China market, or even here in Southeast Asia, people are more involved in mobile games. So that's going to be a challenge, but I can see, I think in the last 2 years, the trend has picked up. People are actually going back to the old school, the old way of playing game. And the thing about our products, actually very family friendly. It's not like violent games or anything like that. So there's a little bit of ethical value in there that we want to instill in. So we would like to be known actually as a leading game publisher for safe and non-violent games.
Stay tuned, Enterprise will be right back.